This video examines California CPA continuing education requirements, focusing on the balance between annual milestones and biennial totals. Compliance requires meeting the quote 2012 annual rule and 80 total hours per 2-year cycle. Non-compliance, even with a biennial total met, can lead to citations and administrative fines starting at $150. We present the case of the missing hours, an anatomy of a fine. This cautionary tale illustrates how strict liability applies to continuing education requirements and why the spirit of the law is insufficient to save a license. Our licensee had a perfect record for over 2 decades. They were a 20-year veteran, a Big Four alumni, and a public service pivot. A simple job change, however, set a bureaucratic trap despite their distinguished career. The foundation of the issue is CCR Section 87. It requires 80 total hours every 2-year renewal period, split into annual pillars. Each year requires a minimum of 20 hours, including 12 hours of technical subjects. Strict compliance is mandatory. Hours must be completed within the specific year. The problem started with a transition from the private sector to a state agency. The licensee assumed their new employer would cover the CE cost. However, vendor delays occurred, and the licensee waited for the employer's system instead of paying out of pocket, missing the annual threshold. The math shows a Year 1 violation. Only 9.5 technical hours were completed, resulting in a deficit and a violation for failing to meet the 20-hour minimum. While the licensee exceeded the 2-year requirement in Year 2 with 81 total hours, the violation status remains for Year 1. The licensee received a citation for failing to comply with CCR Section 87A1, incurring a $150 fine. Confident in their 20-year clean record and total hours completed, they filed a notice of appeal, setting the stage for an administrative hearing. At the administrative hearing, the defense cited 20 years of unblemished service, employer-delayed contracts, and completing more than 80 total hours. However, the standard of proof only required showing that only 9.5 technical hours were completed in Year 1, confirming the violation. The conflict lies between licensee logic and legal reality. Licensees often focus on the 2-year aggregate, while compliance is assessed in strict 1-year increments. Responsibility for CE is mandatory and personal, regardless of financial cost or convenience. The autopsy of the fine revealed that the violation was proven: incomplete annual hours. Mitigating factors included a good faith effort and a clean history. These factors reduced the penalty size, setting the fine at $150, but did not negate the guilt of the infraction itself. Administrative bodies treat yearly continuing education as a strict liability offense. Factors like employer administrative delays or personal financial inconvenience are irrelevant. You either have the required hours on the deadline or you do not. The universal takeaway for licensed professionals is that your license belongs to you, not your employer. Never wait for an employer's vendor if the deadline is approaching. Track hours annually and understand that administrative law privileges the exact letter of the calendar. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe for more content.